Aloha friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Brinley, and today we're going to learn how to make an old style Bombucha Carnation Lei. This lei is a perfect celebration lei and is visually stunning. I think this lei was made more frequently when carnations were grown locally on the islands. My mom has memories of numerous carnation farms when we lived on Maui growing up. And I definitely remember Waimea having a large carnation farm that supported most of the local vendors, maybe in the 80s, early 90s. I don't believe there are any local carnation farms remaining. There may be one on Maui, but mostly it's people just growing their own carnations in their yards. So another reason why this lei fell out of style is probably due to the cost. This particular style of lei requires about 150 blossoms since it uses the poi poi style or the thick circular pattern to make it. Most thick lei that you see today that are carnation are the double carnation lei, where the green part of the flower is still intact. So to make this style of lei, you have to remove the green part and then use the poi poi method to create a super fluffy and thick rope of flower lei. It's intense and heavy, but I think it's so beautiful and meaningful. It's truly a lei for love and celebration. So as you can see here, I've received my carnations from my florist that I usually order from. I have a couple different places that I order from. Unfortunately, these are most likely from South America, but this is what we can get right now. So when I get my flowers in, I cut off their stems, the bottom part of their stem, and I put them in a bucket that's been filled with room temperature water and the little hydration pack that comes with it. I usually put one or two of those in depending on how many carnations I have. For this order I have about 200, so I have about 2 buckets full, and I probably put about 2 packs in each bucket. So you trim your carnation stems so that they can start sucking up all the water and kind of rehydrate after their long trip. And you can see the buds are still pretty tight and pretty closed up. So I like to let them sit in the water for at least a day, if not even longer, so they can start sucking up all the water and the blooms can open up and become more full. I made a rookie mistake with this batch, and I didn't let them sit long enough because I needed to make the lei pretty quickly. And I did not have an easy time spreading open the flowers. So what I should have done is I should have left them in the bucket for a little while longer so they would have more time to suck up the water. So it's super easy. You just trim all your stuff, you put it in the bucket. You want to order at least a couple days ahead of time so you have enough time for the flowers to get nice and open and ready to make lei. And I hate all the plastic that comes with this. It drives me crazy, but I do put all of my green waste in my green waste compost on my property. So at least I'm not throwing that away, but I do throw the plastic away, which is one of the reasons why I really want to grow my own carnations. And so then I don't have to order them from such a faraway place, and there'll be less waste. And then I'll have my own locally grown carnations, which would be amazing. Okay, now that you are ready to start making your lei, you want to get your flowers ready. So you have to snap the head off of each carnation, like so, making sure not to leave anything behind. So you have 150 flowers here, so you're going to have to take the head off of every single carnation. It actually doesn't take that long, it's fine, but it is a little bit of a tedious process. And you can see my rookie mistake, my flowers are still not fully bloomed, they're a little bit tight, so that's going to be a little problematic for me when I start making my lei. But I had to make it, so it's okay, they're pretty. Now that you have all of your flowers ready to go, you still have one more step before you're ready to start stringing them. So you need to pull off this green part, which I believe is called the calyx, I think. When you pull this part off, it basically lets the flower fall open so you can make that really beautiful, thick, circular pattern and spread the flower out. See, like I'm doing right there. So when you're stringing it, you get this really fluffy, nice, thick rope of a lei. Yes, it's an extra step and it makes your lei more expensive, but I think it looks really pretty and it's so meaningful, and I feel like people just really appreciate it and are just in awe of how pretty it is and how good it makes them feel to wear a lei like that you've put all this love and effort and mana into it for them. So you have to do this with every single flower. And again, my rookie mistake, the flowers are still super tight and they're not quite ready to go, but that's okay. The lei turned out really nicely anyway, it's all right. So before you start stringing your lei, you want to make sure that you have your long lei needle that's clean and oiled. You can use olive oil to oil them, just so it's easier to slip the flower on. You want to use your choice of string, yarn, thread. I use Raffia, but the only downside of Raffia is that it does start to get wet and weak near the end of the lei, so it does tend to tear a little bit more easier, and you don't have as much control over the length. You're kind of limited to whatever the length that you buy in the store, and they all generally come in that one, either like super long length or maybe a little bit shorter. So you can't really control the length of your lei, and it may have those weakness issues. But I like to use Raffia because when the recipient is POW with their lei, they can put it, if they're not keeping it in the house to show or have as a memory, they can put it right into their garden and it'll decompose. So there's no plastic elements. They don't have to unstring the whole thing. Yes, it makes it a little bit so it's not as sturdy, but I prefer this method. But lei maker's choice, it's your lei. You do what you feel is going to work the best for you. Okay, so you got to finish up your flowers and we'll be ready to ku'ipoepoe our lei in just a few minutes. Now we have the fun part of making our lei. So whatever string or raffia you choose to use, you want to make a knot at the bottom, making sure to leave a couple of inches of a tail, because you're going to use that tail to pull, to tie the two ends of the lei together. So then you probably need to put your glasses on if you're like me, because your eyesight is not that great anymore. You want to thread your chosen material through your lei, and you can see I had the long lei needle. And I'm actually surprised I got It didn't take me that long to thread this one, because sometimes it takes me several attempts to get the raffia through because I cannot see it. So you want to thread your chosen material through so you have your nice long lei ready to go, or your string ready to go. And then now you're going to take each flower and you're going to start making the poi poi pattern, which is essentially a circular pattern moving around your lei needle. And that's why it takes so many of these blossoms to make this particular kind of lei, because you're just making a full circle. See, the other one is just like a little bit to the side, and so then you're going to put the next flower on top of it a little bit more to the side, so you're making a full circle of carnation flowers. And it's totally okay if it falls apart or if it comes off. And as you can see with these ones, because they're not as opened, I left a little bit of the green part on so I could have like a little bit of a base. Most of the times I don't do that if the flower is nice and open. See, because that doesn't look that great right there, but it's okay. I leave a little bit of the green on just so I have enough of the base to poke through. And you can see I'm poking through just at the base of the flower where there's still that like little hard part. Excuse me. And then you push your first batch all the way down, make it tight. You want to always make sure that it's nice and tight. And then you repeat and you make a beautiful carnation lei with a ton of flowers, but it's so worth it. And you can get any kind of color with carnations. It's amazing how many different kinds they have. This lei was made for a friend who is celebrating the release of his second book, and I felt like the orange was a really joyous and fun celebratory color. I like to use red and purple for really special occasions like graduation or really lovely occasion, but your choice. And generally, the carnations can be pretty expensive. They can be anywhere from like 70 cents to over $1 per flower. And so you really need to have a wholesale license if you want to purchase bulk carnations. But it's worth it. And there you have it, your beautiful Bombucha big boy carnation lei. Bombucha is essentially pigeon for huge, big, enormous. And as you can see, this is a huge, big, enormous Bombucha big boy carnation lei. It's gorgeous. It's heavy. It's going to make you sweat, but it's so worth it.